Excellent, chers amis, veuillez reprendre vos places, vous asseoir pour que nous puissions commencer. Merci. Et si vous pouviez fermer la porte derrière, ce serait très bien. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We finished the morning session with the oral report of the evaluation body delivered by the rapporteur of the body under item 7. I will shortly open the floor for comments on the report that we've heard. If needed, I will then give the floor to the evaluation body's rapporteur to answer your questions, and then we can start examining nomination files for inscription on the urgent safeguarding list under item 7A. We have a lot of work to go through this afternoon, so let us get going. Thank you. So I see that we are ready to start the session. May I open the floor to committee members to know if anyone wishes to provide comments or ask questions on the report of the evaluation body which examined the nominations under the 2022 cycle. The floor is to the committee members. We are now opening the list of speakers, so Tim will be reading the list of the speakers. Tim, can you read the list, please? I'm sorry.
Thank you. For the moment, and if you could please lower your nameplates after I read. Switzerland, Brazil, Czechia, Uzbekistan, Burkina Faso, Ethiopia, Malaysia, Morocco, Germany, Slovakia, Sweden. Okay. India, Peru, and Rwanda. India, Peru, Rwanda. Republic of Peru, Rwanda. So after Sweden, India, Peru, Rwanda, Republic of Korea. Okay. Thank you.
Merci, mon très cher Tim. Donc la parole est à la Suisse. La Suisse, vous avez la parole.
Monsieur le Président, le rapport de l'organe d'évaluation révèle la qualité du travail effectué par les experts. Il fournit des analyses quantitatives et qualitatives du cycle d'inscription en mettant en évidence des enjeux, des problématiques et des évolutions dans les dossiers présentés. La Suisse remercie tous les experts et le secrétariat pour leur engagement et la mise à disposition de leurs compétences pour la réalisation de ce rapport. L'organe d'évaluation fournit plusieurs recommandations pertinentes et nous souhaitons en aborder ici 2 avant l'examen des candidatures. Premièrement, la recommandation d'une participation étroite des communautés à la préparation des dossiers de candidature représente une exigence de notre Convention et souvent un défi pour tous les États soumissionnaires. Pour y répondre, le renforcement des capacités et la formation de facilitateurs constituent des pistes à privilégier et à soutenir. Deuxièmement, de même, la qualité des candidatures multinationales doit encore être améliorée. À ce titre, nous rappelons la demande au secrétariat, issue de l'organe d'évaluation, de préparer une note d'orientation pour la préparation des dossiers multinationaux. Par ailleurs, nous avons pu observer que les dossiers soumis présentent une qualité élevée, avec 71%, pour le dire comme on le dit en Suisse, ou 71% des nominations recommandées pour une inscription. Parmi ces candidatures recommandées positivement, plusieurs dossiers avaient fait l'objet d'un renvoi préalable. Nous nous en réjouissons car nous sommes fermement convaincus qu'une proposition de renvoi n'est pas à considérer comme un échec, mais au contraire comme un encouragement à améliorer la qualité du dossier. Les évaluations fournissent à ce titre des indications et orientations pertinentes pour tous les États soumissionnaires. Reconnaissant l'expertise de l'organe d'évaluation, la Suisse s'engagera durant le processus d'examen des candidatures pour que ces recommandations soient maintenues dans les décisions et respectera l'accord de travail, le Working Agreement. Comprenez-moi bien, nous considérons également que nos méthodes de travail peuvent et doivent évoluer. Ces adaptations possibles doivent cependant se dérouler de manière séparée du traitement des candidatures. Chers amis, ne jetons pas notre beau bébé avec l'eau du bain. Je vous remercie de votre attention.
Merci, Madame l'ambassadeur de Suisse. La parole maintenant est au Brésil. Brazil, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. Once more, Brazil would like to extend its respect and support for the work of the evaluation body. It was a huge effort, and their comments are really important for the future of our convention. We would like to shed light on the importance of the reflection registered in the paragraph 45 regarding tourism and standardization that, in our view, could benefit from the discussions under the 2005 convention. The report also brings some numbers that we consider important regarding some geographical imbalances, and this is why we agree with the body when it cites in paragraph 36 the need for greater capacity building efforts in some regions. This imbalance in the convention's list is the reason why Brazil proposes an amendment to the resolution. And I would like to clarify that, in our view, it's not caused by any particular stakeholder. It's a structural issue and a common responsibility of the entire UNESCO community. Every gesture counts, and within the competence of the evaluation body, some measures could be taken to reduce these imbalances. The most obvious one is the previous dialogue process. The report says that 11 files had the benefit from this new tool. Some of the inconsistencies our experts saw in the evaluation of the cycle certainly could be avoided with the improvement of this quick but relevant space of dialogue. We also have presented an amendment to address this issue. As for the members of the committee, we must increase the dialogue and use every resource we have in hands to contribute with new perceptions to our convention. One good example is provided by Sweden, to whom we express our gratitude for sponsoring the important reflection on the Article 18 of the convention. Another good opportunity is the committee itself. We believe that here in the committee, gathering together experts from 24 countries, we have an excellent opportunity to reach some of the discussions raised by the evaluation body in this cycle. On the Secretariat side, we would like to commend the efforts already undertaken through the dedicated working groups and renew our support so that the new proposals can be fully and rapidly implemented. A more geographically balanced representative list will contribute to give more legitimacy to the actions of the Secretariat and contribute to the scope of this convention. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Merci beaucoup, le Brésil. Je passe la parole maintenant à la République tchèque. Czechia, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The delegation of Czechia would like to express its respect and gratitude to all work done by the Secretariat and the evaluation body in this cycle. The burden has increased, but still they managed to finish all their work in time and submit as good quality report as ever. Unfortunately, not all files could be evaluated positively, even when the dialogue process was applied. We should keep exploring ways to resolve most problems of the files before they come in front of the committee. Among other things, the evaluation body report is posing a question of setting up a system of using external information in a transparent and formalized way during the evaluation process. Such a possibility could remove some of the remaining problems, but probably, again, not all of them. And we can imagine that this could be related particularly to criterion R1, maybe R5, but probably not to other criteria. So we would like to ask the evaluation body, have you discussed this issue? You probably did, because it was in the report. So what was your discussion about? Did you come up with any ideas how this, how these external information could be acquired? For the time being, we would like to express our wish that as a committee we will honor the working agreement, and even if we open the discussion, as has been requested by several delegates earlier, we will not describe files with more than 2 criteria unfulfilled. Applying such approach to our own referred file in the past, Czechia strongly believes that a referral on several criteria is not a negative thing, but rather a signal that the presentation of the element at stake is not clear, comprehensive, or comprehensible enough, and that there is more work to be done to prepare really effective safeguarding strategy or make sure that the communities, groups, and individuals have been and will be the main driving forces of the development and implementation of the safeguarding. We hope that our discussions this week will go smoothly and that we will learn some new lessons which will move us forward and develop our understanding of the Convention. And we think it's a great news that all urgent safeguarding and international assistance files and majority of good safeguarding practice nominations have been evaluated positively, and I think this has happened for the first time in history probably. So it's a great news, and we want to congratulate to all states whose files have been recommended for inscription for a job well done. Thank you.
Merci à la République tchèque. Je donne la parole maintenant à l'Ouzbékistan. Uzbekistan, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We appreciate the comprehensive report of the evaluation body on its activities during 2022. I would like to thank all members of the evaluation body, both experts and NGOs, for their extensive work during this cycle. It's tremendous work. Most of evaluations and recommendations were extremely helpful for both the committee and the submitting states. The number of files submitted for consideration is increasing year by year, and this requires from the evaluation body a great deal of dedication and commitment. Despite this, the Secretariat met all the deadlines. We have reviewed the 5 working documents of the evaluation body and observed improvement in the quality of the nomination files. We are glad that the upstream dialogue process that was recently adopted has also been utilized to improve the quality of the files. Considering the findings and decisions of the evaluation body, we will examine them one by one to achieve the essential goal of the 2003 Convention, which is to safeguard intangible cultural heritage and to provide mutual assistance at the international level. We would like to underscore once more the crucial role of the communities, groups, and individuals throughout the nomination process. Therefore, we support the draft decision 17-7 to be adopted shortly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Uzbekistan. Now I'm giving the floor to Burkina Faso. Le Burkina Faso, vous avez la parole. Merci.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma délégation voudrait féliciter l'organe d'évaluation pour son rapport détaillé et le travail qui a été effectué. En se référant aux recommandations formulées par cet organe, il s'agit de la façon de préparer les candidatures multinationales, le recours aux informations externes, la question de la commercialisation. La mise en œuvre urgente de ces recommandations est un gage de plus d'objectivité de l'évaluation et l'adoption rapide de nos décisions. Ma délégation suggère que la réflexion soit menée au niveau du secrétariat afin d'élaborer des notes d'orientation sur ces recommandations. Ces notes pourraient être une sorte de cadrage ou de recadrage de l'organe d'évaluation qui serait soumise au comité pour appréciation et adoption. Ces notes d'orientation pourraient établir, entre autres, les principes et les conditions du processus de dialogue entre l'organe d'évaluation et les soumissionnaires et une sorte d'accord de travail adopté par notre comité. Ma délégation voudrait avoir l'avis du secrétariat sur cette proposition de réflexion et d'élaboration des notes d'orientation à soumettre au comité. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup, le Burkina Faso. Évidemment, le secrétariat répondra tout à l'heure aux questions évidemment posées et aux demandes d'éclaircissement que vous souhaitez. La parole maintenant est à l'Éthiopie. Ethiopia, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, Ethiopia would like to commend the evaluation body for the accomplishment of heavy workload. And moreover, we would like also to appreciate the Secretariat for the performance to facilitate the work of the evaluation body. The report is very extensive and explanatory enough, pinpointing basic thematic issues and other relevant concerns which are expected by the global community in the context of the 2003 Convention. Furthermore, I would like to get more clarification on, in the thematic areas. One, the trade-off between the labels and the trademarks, the practice versus the product, and the issue of commercialization and tourism in the context of sustainable development. I would like to see the reflection of the evaluation body. Second, apart from the positive observations of the and the comments made by the evaluation body and the clarifications given today in the morning session, how many issues raised in the committee, in the committee's previous decision, are addressed in the first cycle? If not up to the expectation, I would like to listen to the trends in the process. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, l'Éthiopie. La parole est à la Malaisie maintenant. Malaysia, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Malaysia would like to express our appreciation to the evaluation body for the work done, their commitment and dedication undertaken by the experts of the evaluation body, especially considering the very difficult and challenging circumstances in 2022. The recommendations by the evaluation committee are pertinent and clear. Points raised by the evaluation body about the definition of specific ICH elements in some proposals, central role of communities, groups, and individuals in the submission, planning, and implementation of the programs, issues concerning the preparation of multinational nominations, and issues of over-commercialization. The evaluation body undertook a great workload considering the number of files it had to examine, 56 files in total of all categories. Despite the growing number of files, the evaluation body was able to provide great analysis and expertise in its examination of the files, which will help the committee make informed decisions. Over the years, it's evident there has been increasing number of multinational file submission, and for this cycle, there were 14 multinational files being evaluated. Therefore, Malaysia wishes to express the importance of this category of file submission to be continuously prioritized, which enables state parties within and across the region that share similar cultures. Eventually, this will encourage international cooperation and dialogue relating to living heritage. Malaysia would like to echo the concerns by state parties regarding the dialogue process, whereby not all state parties concerned were given the opportunity to undergo the process. Malaysia understands the explanation given pertaining to the dialogue process by the rapporteur of the evaluation body. Nonetheless, Malaysia believes that this process is crucial and should be extended to all files that do not fulfill the criteria. This will provide the necessary platform for the affected files. Bearing in mind, this will increase the workload of the evaluation body. Finally, Malaysia is also concerned regarding the issue of over-commercialization, which appeared in several files. In this regard, there is a need to have a clear understanding as to where do we draw the line in commercializing and over-commercializing of the element, and we look forward to receiving the guidelines as presented earlier today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malaysia. La parole maintenant est au Maroc. Le Maroc, vous avez la parole.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Ma délégation tient à remercier l'organe d'évaluation pour la qualité du rapport clair et exhaustif. Il tient également à remercier et à saluer le secrétariat pour son travail dans ce cadre. J'aimerais à ce propos mettre l'accent sur l'importance du processus de dialogue entre les États parties et l'organe d'évaluation mis en œuvre pour la troisième cycle. Nous avons noté que ce dialogue a été utilisé dans 11 cas, c'est-à-dire pour 11 dossiers au cours du cycle présent. Or, nombre d'États parties ayant soumis des dossiers de candidature ont indiqué qu'ils n'ont pas profité de ce mécanisme intéressant pour donner les informations et les clarifications demandées, et également pour compléter et faire les ajustements nécessaires par rapport à leur dossier. Pour cela, nous souhaitons que le processus de dialogue soit généralisé à l'avenir à tous les dossiers présentés et que l'on peut prendre les mesures nécessaires pour surmonter les contraintes techniques et budgétaires à ce sujet. En raison de cette difficulté et de bien d'autres, nous ne voyons pas d'inconvénient à ce que le comité procède à l'ouverture des débats si l'État partie concerné le souhaite. Nous pensons que cela permettra à cet État de s'exprimer au sujet de son dossier et répondre aux remarques et observations de l'organe d'évaluation. Ce débat ne remet absolument pas en question le travail ou les conclusions de l'organe d'évaluation. Il permet simplement l'instauration de davantage de démocratie et d'équité, comme il confirme la souveraineté du comité et de ses décisions. Nous pensons par ailleurs que l'esprit de la Convention de 2003 est totalement différent de la Convention de 1972. Notre Convention a été mise en place pour encourager l'inscription des éléments du patrimoine culturel immatériel dans les 4 coins du monde. L'objectif recherché étant un bon équilibre géographique et une présence équitable de toutes les régions du monde. Monsieur le Président, ma délégation souhaite que la session de Rabat puisse lancer une approche plus juste et plus équilibrée dans l'appréciation de la Convention de 2003. Et nous pensons que le Working Agreement est toujours utile dans le processus de prise de décision, mais ne saurait en aucun cas devenir une règle sacrée ou sacralisée. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Merci, le Maroc. La parole est à l'Allemagne. Germany, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Chair. Dear colleagues, I would like to express my gratitude to the evaluation body for its valuable and extensive work. We have one question. How can the evaluation body better include the ethical principles for safeguarding intangible cultural heritage into its work, for instance, concerning gender equality? Allow me to add the following. I wish to highlight the importance of adhering to the working agreement to ensure the credibility of the Convention, the committee, and the list. Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup à l'Allemagne. La parole maintenant est à la Slovaquie. Slovakia, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We would like to commend the work of the evaluation body, which we consider of the highest quality and would like to thank for the exhaustive report. In this respect, I would like to declare the commitment of Slovakia to the working agreements, which we consider crucial to maintain the efficient, effective, and consistent way of working of this committee. We would also like to express recognition to all efforts the state parties invested in the process of preparation and submitting nomination files, proposals, and international assistance requests in this cycle. We especially commend the state parties that submitted their first nomination files. However, we note that the number is, in our perception, too low. We therefore welcome and fully subscribe to the opinion that even more significant action to support communities and state parties is required. We support the proposal from Sweden to open the possibility of requesting the international assistance for the preparation of nomination file for states with no inscription files on the representative list. We agree we should seek also other forms of cooperation, including on bilateral level, to accompany nomination processes. In this respect, we consider newly established UNESCO Group of Friends of SIDS and Group of Friends of Africa as very useful initiatives, since they could serve as platforms for facilitating concrete forms of cooperation and assistance between member states. Slovakia is ready to take an active role. The recommendation to refer an element in no way constitutes a judgment on the merits of the element itself. The referral provides an opportunity for the submitting state to improve the description of the element and related safeguarding measures, the highest possible participation of the communities, etc. This offers the opportunity to provide a corresponding presentation of the precious elements of ICH on the Convention's webpage and related online digital tools related to the awareness raising of the 2003 Convention. Moreover, this improved description can serve as a reference for the upcoming files. Nomination files are an important tool for promoting and presenting elements of ICH at all levels, and as such, it is important that they are written in a clear and understandable manner. We are pleased to note during the last 3 years the dialogue process was successfully used and there is an increasing tendency. Despite time, efforts, and enlarged personal involvement of all stakeholders involved, the EB asked more questions every year. In 2020, 11 questions, 2021, 22 questions, and 2022, 25 questions. We see the connection and the reflection of the dialogue process in the increased percentage of positive recommendations. We would like to ask a question to both EB and the Secretariat. What is the capacity to increase the use of the dialogue process even more? Thank you.
Merci beaucoup la Slovaquie. La parole maintenant est à la Suède. Sweden, you have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Sweden would like to thank the evaluation body for this excellent report and for their careful reading of the files. We also want to highlight the importance of respecting the evaluation body's expertise and the observations and recommendations contained in this report. Sweden is pleased to see the positive aspect of the EB that they point out, especially the increased number of files that are aligned to the Sustainable Development Goals. According to the EB's assessment, a number of challenges and problems also remain to be addressed. For instance, the sometimes marginal roles for concerned actors from civil society, standardization, and over-commercialization. In this regard, we would like to ask the evaluation body if you have any further recommendations for state parties on how to make use of the expertise and resources within communities and NGOs in the drafting process of the files. Sweden also would like to highlight EB's comment on the relation between tangible and intangible heritage and the importance of articulating knowledge, practice, and skills. We note a tendency to sometimes describe things and places instead of knowledge and customs, and we wonder why that is. Does the evaluation body have any specific suggestions on how to solve this challenge? All of the 56 files add up to an impressive diversity of intangible cultural heritage from different corners of the world. According to the examination, a referral is usually due to insufficient information concerning ways to safeguard the element, how to cooperate with and involve stakeholders, and how to raise awareness of the intangible cultural heritage. This is the very essence of the Convention, and it is therefore crucial that the status of the Convention, that EB recommendations are taken into account. A referral is, as has been said here today, a call for clarification and not a dismissal. The dialogue process is one way of making the nomination process go smoother. Does the evaluation body have any other suggestions on ways to make this process clearer and easier to understand? And can you also clarify in which cases the process is used? Sweden would like to thank the state parties that have contributed to the diversity of living heritage, but also the states that have withdrawn their files. This shows respect for the tremendous work carried out by the EB and facilitates the work of this committee. We would like to add that we will later propose an amendment to draft decision 17-7 in the lines of our question from this morning on making possible for member states not having an element on the representative list to seek international assistance in preparing a first nomination. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson.
Merci beaucoup, la Suède, pour votre intervention. Il y a effectivement des éléments extrêmement intéressants. J'espère que l'organe d'évaluation aura tout à l'heure l'opportunité d'y répondre, parce qu'effectivement, la question du dialogue a été soulevée par pas mal de délégations ici présentes, et c'est vrai qu'il serait intéressant peut-être d'entendre l'organe d'évaluation par rapport à la méthode employée liée à la question de l'interaction avec les États soumissionnaires. La parole maintenant est à l'Inde. India, you have the floor.
Excellency, I would like to thank you for providing us the floor. India appreciates the evaluation body for its commendable work on evaluating the nomination files submitted for inscription in the list of ICH in need of urgent safeguarding. We would like to see an improved hand-holding mechanism adopted and extended for the capacity building programs. It is further submitted that multinational nominations need to be encouraged in furthering the spirit and mandate of the Convention. We would like to know ways to do that. It is imperative that the Convention accords importance for upstream dialogue process in order to address the issues related to geographical imbalances and over-commercialization. It is felt that proper and cogent guidelines may be issued with regards to better understanding and addressing the issues of over-commercialization. We would like to see step-by-step process towards that. We call upon the Secretariat to suggest new ways to generate funds for better management of the Convention, as well as to evaluate increasing the number of inscriptions permitted per state party. For a 10,000-year-old culture, having more than 1,900 languages, home to 1.4 billion people, 20% of the human species on planet Earth, just a single nomination every 2 years is not enough to justify the diversity of India and the Indian subcontinent. We expect to know ways to increase nominations. More is required. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur l'ambassadeur. Et encore une fois, effectivement, il y a pas mal d'éléments intéressants qui ont été soulevés dans l'intervention de Monsieur l'ambassadeur de l'Inde. Et il va falloir que nous nous mettions tous effectivement à réfléchir pour essayer de faire avancer les choses, parce qu'effectivement, un pays n'est pas l'autre, chaque pays a ses spécificités, qu'elles soient culturelles, sociales ou démographiques, et effectivement, tout cela devra être pris en compte. Et il me semble que nous ne pouvons pas mettre tous les dossiers et une approche standardisée. Je crois qu'on devra évoluer par rapport à ce point à l'avenir, évidemment. La parole maintenant est au Pérou. Perú, tiene la palabra. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, presidente. Ante todo, nuestra delegación quiere agradecer por el detallado informe presentado por el cuerpo evaluador, a quien felicitamos por el importante trabajo realizado y por el hecho de haber presentado sus resultados en el tiempo previsto. Es encomiable el hecho de que se haya observado una mejora en la preparación de los expedientes, el incremento en el número de expedientes multinacionales y el vínculo encontrado en los elementos examinados entre el patrimonio cultural inmaterial y el medio ambiente. Saludamos asimismo el riguroso trabajo realizado en base a cada criterio, tal cual nos ha informado el relator. Sin embargo, como se ha señalado, en algunos casos el cuerpo evaluador ha utilizado el proceso de diálogo en la examinación de algunos criterios. Al respecto, quisiéramos tener un mayor detalle sobre el criterio discrecional a través del cual el cuerpo evaluador elige establecer el proceso de diálogo que está previsto en las directrices operativas. Sabemos que existen restricciones financieras, sin embargo, consideramos que este espacio debería estar disponible para la mayor cantidad posible de expedientes que necesitan ciertas aclaraciones en sus expedientes. Consideramos que han existido circunstancias particulares en la preparación de los expedientes presentados para los ciclos del 2019 al 2021, cuyos procesos de formulación se han dado en la época de la pandemia del COVID-19, lo que ha necesariamente influenciado y condicionado la preparación del mismo expediente. Por ello, este grupo de candidaturas deben tener una consideración especial, por lo mismo que ameritan la apertura del diálogo, sin tomar en consideración el número de criterios que cumplen o no. Finalmente, nos sumamos a los pedidos de otras delegaciones respecto a brindar la oportunidad a los países que necesiten para que puedan tener el espacio para aclarar o profundizar alguna información con respecto a sus candidaturas. Gracias, señor presidente.
Merci beaucoup, le Pérou. La parole maintenant est au Rwanda. Le Rwanda, vous avez la parole. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Rwandan delegation thanks the evaluation body for its commendable work and the Secretariat for its facilitation. Dear Chairperson, Rwanda noted that the evaluation body opened the dialogue process for 11 files, and 9 of them were recommended for inscription. Although the dialogue process has proven to be an effective one, an effective mechanism between the submitting states and the evaluation body, it is unfortunate that the dialogue process has not been applied in the evaluation of other dossiers requiring further clarification. Taking into account the evaluation body's own conclusions in its reports on the 2022 evaluation cycle, where it defines the 2 regional groups with the best candidacy dossier, Rwanda recommends that the dialogue process for developing countries as part of the evaluation be strongly encouraged. Furthermore, the Rwandan delegation strongly believes that efforts in developing capacity of state parties related to the elaboration of the safeguarding measures should be strengthened through the greater use of the international assistance. I thank you for your kind attention.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur. La parole est à la République de Corée. Korea, you have the floor. Thank you. Korea Republic.
Thank you, Chair. The Republic of Korea would like to thank the evaluation body for their hard work and dedication in evaluating the 56 nominations in this cycle, despite the challenges and difficulties. The present cycle of the body maintained a high level of consistency in evaluation, which is an important way of ensuring the credibility of the listing mechanism. My delegation also noted that the dialogue process was actively implemented for 11 nominations in accordance with paragraph 55 of the operational directives of the convention, and 9 nominations are now recommended to be inscribed on the list through the process. I believe that it became possible because of hard work done by both the evaluation body and state parties who showed their flexibility and spirit of cooperation. We also appreciate the Secretariat's plan to publish guidelines on the commercialization. We think this is not a simple task given the diverse circumstances in different countries, but this is needed because we need to accommodate the needs of the communities who want or need commercial use of their element or tourism. Last but not least, since the global reflection of the listing mechanism has been successfully completed, we expect a greater and more extensive role played by the evaluation body. All of these will result in the desired outcome when the committee ensures the sustainable working mechanism of the evaluation body. Thank you.
Thank you, Korea Republic. Now I'm giving the floor to Paraguay. Paraguay, tiene la palabra.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Apreciamos y felicitamos la gran tarea del órgano evaluador y ha sido muy útil y didáctico conocer los detalles del proceso. Es sin duda un trabajo que sienta las bases para avanzar hacia formas que incluyan la real participación de las comunidades. Sobre todo porque es clarísimo que el patrimonio cultural inmaterial es tradicional, contemporáneo, viviente, integrador, representativo y basado en la comunidad. Coincidimos en la necesidad de lograr un mayor equilibrio en la lista representativa y entendemos que sería oportuno analizar un rol pedagógico que ayude a los estados a una mejor comprensión de la propia convención en la línea de proporcionar identificaciones y definiciones claras de los elementos del patrimonio cultural inmaterial, haciendo énfasis en el papel central que tienen las comunidades. En nuestras culturas, el patrimonio cultural inmaterial es esencialmente comunitario y ahí es necesario que los indicadores construidos tengan la capacidad de captar con fidelidad esta característica. Es decir, cuando los portadores de un patrimonio son miembros de comunidades autóctonas, a veces es difícil implementar formularios pensados para un nivel de experticia en el tema. En relación con la sobrecomercialización, nos preocupa cómo se mide esto, con qué indicadores, porque muchas manifestaciones se inscriben en la dinámica económica para subsistir justamente. Muchas gracias, presidente.
Merci beaucoup, Paraguay. Je donne la parole maintenant au Bangladesh. Bangladesh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. Bangladesh commends the comprehensive report by the evaluation body. It is truly reassuring that the Convention member states are attaching greater importance to the Convention and particularly to the communities. We further appreciate the nuances and of the judicious values rendered by the evaluation body. The informative oral report presented by the rapporteur also is a guideline for better understanding of the Convention and its procedures. We also appreciate the challenges they face in evaluating the files. We thank the evaluation body for their technical assessment. However, it remains upon the elected member states to assess them and decide on the inscription. While we keep stressing on the active participation of the communities concerned, Bangladesh underlines the importance and the need to provide a comprehensive dissemination of technical information on the parameters that are advisable for presenting the community participation. To this end, we would like to ask the Secretariat to consult with the Member States and, if possible, present a format which may be used for preparing the questionnaire and consent of the community. Our ultimate objective should be to make the inscription process as easy as possible for qualifying elements, and we should focus more on post-inscription safeguarding mechanism so that the intangible cultural heritage of the humankind is well protected and preserved for our posterity. Inscriptions are not about glorious achievements, rather about our responsibilities to protect them. Thank you, Mr. President.
Merci infiniment, Bangladesh. Je voulais tout simplement m'assurer qu'il n'y a pas d'autres demandes de parole de la part des membres du comité avant de donner la parole aux observateurs. Je ne sais pas si d'autres membres du comité souhaitent s'exprimer. Je n'en vois pas a priori. Donc je donne la parole à la Palestine. La Palestine, vous avez la parole. Merci.
Shukran, Sayyid al-Rais. Let me first express my thanks and congratulations to the evaluation body for their clear and extended report. There are many issues raised in this report, and the members of the committee, they commented it. But let me again talk about the dialogue. There was a huge request to extend the dialogue in order to include more files. Maybe to this end, the committee members may consider creating a working group to examine this question, as well as other questions that has been raised. For example, the working method of the committee, as well as the question of standardized consent of communities. And we heard right now a proposal by Bangladesh that we consider that it has many merits and it should be considered. Secondly, we noticed that the evaluation body was missing 3 members starting from June in order to comply with the rules. This is only two, 2 members. So for this end, I think that this maybe will be problematic for the evaluation body, since they were 10 instead of 12, and we know the burden of the work that they have. So maybe also we can consider an extraordinary session right after the General Assembly with the purpose to elect the missing experts of the evaluation body. So finally, I would like to talk again about the proposal by Sweden that has been supported right now by Slovakia regarding granting the assistance for the preparation of nomination files to state parties who has no element inscribed. But maybe we can extend it and make it a little bit more fair by considering granting the assistance to developing states, including the seeds, and giving a priority to such state parties who has no element inscribed. Thank you, Mr. Chair, and my congratulations also, for the Secretariat for the quality of the working documents. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur l'ambassadeur de Palestine. Je vais lire la liste que j'ai sous les yeux des orateurs parmi les observateurs. J'aurai donc après la Palestine, la République Dominican Republic, la Lituanie et Cuba pour l'instant. Donc la parole est à la République dominicaine. Merci.
Muy buenas tardes. Siendo esta la primera vez que la delegación de la República Dominicana toma la palabra, quisiéramos felicitar al embajador Samir Adarre y en su persona al Reino de Marruecos por la estupenda organización de esta 17ª reunión del Comité Intergubernamental. Desde el momento de nuestro arribo nos hemos sentido bien acogidos, bien recibidos en Rabat. Muchas gracias. Presidente, personalmente a nosotros nos gusta esta convención. Esta convención tiene un impacto directo en el terreno y en la vida de las personas. La pandemia, además del sufrimiento generalizado que nos causó, nos dejó claro que la cultura y sus múltiples manifestaciones son un bien indispensable para el buen funcionamiento de sociedades sostenibles. Valoramos el trabajo ingente del órgano de evaluación, reflejado en el informe apenas rendido, y le agradecemos su compromiso meticuloso con los propósitos de la Convención. Sin embargo, desgraciadamente, en este ciclo no ha habido equilibrio geográfico, en la consideración de las candidaturas para la lista representativa del PCI, y no por falta de propuestas de parte de los grupos 3 y 5A. He querido ser bastante específico. El órgano de evaluación desempeña un rol esencial y precioso, repito, esencial y precioso, pero no puede subrogarse al comité intergubernamental. El mandato lo tiene el comité y lo debe ejercer el comité. Quisiéramos también llamar la atención acerca de la política cero, que debería ser prioridad al momento de la consideración de los expedientes. A los estados que aún no tienen elementos registrados y que han propuesto alguna candidatura, podría abrírseles y concedérseles canales de diálogos previos. Estamos seguros que si se abre e implementa este diálogo previo, luego no será necesario apelar a los recursos del fondo, es decir, que contribuiríamos directamente a la estabilidad financiera de la convención. Como bien dijo el colega de Marruecos, hubo diálogo en relación a 11 candidaturas, por lo que entendemos que el diálogo es posible y que conviene a todos, nos conviene a todos uniformar su uso. No hacerlo supondría establecer privilegios o estados favoritos, lo que contradice el espíritu de la Convención. Muchas gracias.
Merci beaucoup à la République dominicaine et merci pour les mots sympathiques que vous avez bien voulu avoir à l'endroit de mon pays. Merci infiniment. La parole maintenant est à la Lituanie qui sera suivie par Cuba. La Lituanie, you have the floor.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Notre délégation voudrait tout d'abord remercier l'organe de l'évaluation pour son travail qu'il a effectué et féliciter la haute qualité de son rapport, la mise en lumière de bons exemples et ses observations et recommandations méticuleuses fondées d'une analyse approfondie des dossiers. Cela va servir d'une source d'inspiration pour les États parties dans leurs efforts à venir de préparer des dossiers concluants. Nous apprécions les principes de travail de l'organe y inclut la cohérence avec les approches précédentes, le suivi des critères définis dans les directives opérationnelles, la mise du contenu des dossiers en première place dans le processus de l'évaluation, l'application du processus de dialogue et bien d'autres. De même, comme c'est souligné dans ce rapport, nous sommes d'avis que dans certains cas, l'option de renvoi des dossiers servira comme outil indispensable d'amélioration de la qualité des dossiers ou bien même donnera du temps précieux aux États parties de mettre en œuvre certains moyens importants pour la sauvegarde avant la soumission des dossiers renouvelés. Cela aidera à améliorer des plans de sauvegarde, ce que représente un des moyens les plus importants pour la mise en œuvre de la Convention. Tout particulièrement, nous nous réjouissons du nombre croissant des dossiers multinationaux et soutenons l'invitation à la préparation des notes d'orientation, ce qui guidera les États parties dans le processus multinational assez complexe. Nous remercions donc pour ce document de qualité et nous attendons impatiemment les inscriptions qui vont célébrer notre convention. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Merci beaucoup, la Lituanie. La parole est à Cuba, qui sera suivie par l'Argentine. Cuba, tiene la palabra.
Gracias, señor presidente. Tomamos nota del informe del órgano de evaluación, destacamos la importancia del trabajo de este órgano para asegurar el trabajo y el sistema de inscripción en las listas de la Convención. Resulta fundamental que el trabajo de evaluación también refleje las prioridades que definen los órganos principales de la Convención y temas fundamentales como el equilibrio regional, la atención a los grupos prioritarios, la diversidad de las tipologías del patrimonio inmaterial, la diversidad lingüística, la armonización con otras convenciones del UNESCO también tengan una expresión en los resultados y en el trabajo del órgano de evaluación. Lamentamos el desequilibrio presente en este ciclo, en particular en la región de América Latina y el Caribe, en especial para los pequeños estados insulares en desarrollo. Ninguno de los dosieres de nuestra región ni del Caribe fueron beneficiados con un diálogo previo, incluidos los países que presentaban por primera vez una candidatura. Reiteramos la necesidad de la aplicación del mecanismo de diálogo como parte del proceso de evaluación previsto en las directrices operativas en su párrafo 55, que no limita su aplicación por el número de criterios evaluados. La evaluación no puede devenir en una competición sobre qué grupo regional prepara mejores expedientes, como expresa el informe del órgano de evaluación, sobre todo cuando son las comunidades portadoras las que participan en el proceso de elaboración de los mismos. Apoyamos la intervención hecha por Brasil, Marruecos, Malasia, India, Ruanda, Perú, Paraguay, Bangladesh y Palestina y compartimos preocupaciones expresas por estas delegaciones. Estamos convencidos que Marruecos será un punto de partida para mejorar el sistema de evaluación y la proyección de esta convención. Deseo agradecerle, señor presidente, a España por habernos también facilitado, que no lo pude hacer en mi intervención inicial, la traducción al español que nos permite mejorar nuestra comunicación en estos espacios. Muchas gracias.
Merci beaucoup, Madame l'ambassadeur de Cuba, et merci effectivement à l'Espagne. Merci infiniment. La parole maintenant à l'Argentine. Argentina, tiene la palabra.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Como es la primera vez que tomamos la palabra, queremos agradecer a las autoridades del Reino de Marruecos por la organización de la 17COM y la maravillosa bienvenida ofrecida el día domingo. Agradecer también a la UNESCO y especialmente a la Secretaría de la Convención 2003 y a usted, señor presidente, por el buen desarrollo de la reunión. Agradecer al órgano de evaluación un informe tan detallado. Tal y como se han expresado otras delegaciones el día de ayer y hoy, Argentina ve con cierta inquietud el desbalance que aún persiste en la representatividad de algunas regiones en las listas y acompaña las solicitudes referidas al fortalecimiento de capacidades nacionales locales y el diálogo previo entre el órgano de evaluación y los estados proponentes como una parte esencial del proceso de presentación de nominaciones en todos los casos. Consideramos que el diálogo en cada etapa de implementación de la Convención es siempre saludable y por ello también acompañamos las expresiones referidas al abordaje de todos aquellos temas que aún precisen ser debatidos en profundidad. Muchas gracias.
Merci beaucoup à l'Argentine. La parole maintenant est au Guatemala, qui sera suivi de Haïti et puis de la Norvège. Guatemala tiene la palabra. Muchas gracias.
Muy buenas tardes. Queremos agradecer al órgano evaluador por todo lo expuesto y sobre todo por el enorme trabajo que desarrolló al evaluar todos los diferentes expedientes de las diferentes nominaciones para este curso. Queremos manifestar como Estado el interés precisamente en promover un diálogo que sea equilibrado para que todos los diferentes bloques puedan tener la oportunidad de ser escuchados. Manifestar esa importancia del equilibrio regional. Sabemos perfectamente que en este caso no estamos en ningún elemento de competencia, sino simplemente pedimos que se pueda abrir esa oportunidad para poder entablar y resolver estas dudas, estos aspectos de forma equilibrada y justa para todos los países, sobre todo aquellos en los cuales pues, no se desarrolló en diferentes etapas. Todos los patrimonios son sumamente importantes para cada uno de los países y el patrimonio inmaterial tiene la enorme riqueza de ser el que está directamente vinculado con las comunidades. Ellos son quienes lo manejan, quienes tienen que implementar de perfecta manera las medidas de salvaguarda de mano conjunta con cada uno de los actores en cada una de las comunidades y manifestamos ese interés también de que se pueda desarrollar de forma equilibrada ese espacio de escucha para cada uno de los países. Gracias.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Vice-ministre, pour votre intervention. La parole maintenant est à Haïti. Haïti, vous avez la parole.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. Je vous promets d'être très brève. Je crois que nous sommes arrivés au moment de la journée où nous voulons passer à l'analyse des dossiers. Je tiens tout d'abord à remercier l'organe évaluateur de son travail colossal que nous pouvons remarquer à travers ce rapport. Et nous voulions aussi souligner le point 36 qui interpelle l'attention du lecteur lorsque nous apprenons que la qualité des dossiers soumis par le groupe 1 et 2 sont ceux qui révèlent être les bons exemples à suivre. Je crois que ça porte à réflexion. Nous voulons notamment faire écho à toutes les interventions de nos collègues du groupe 3 et du groupe 5A pour appeler à un dialogue beaucoup plus important et pourquoi pas à l'application de la priorité SIDS dans cette convention, une priorité SIDS qui sous-entendrait que ce dialogue serait beaucoup plus important entre ces pays en développement insulaire qui ont besoin de ces mécanismes et ont besoin de se voir représentés à la hauteur des contributions qui sont les leurs au sein de cette convention qui nous est très importante. Je conclus mes propos en réitérant le soutien d'Haïti à la candidature de l'élément qui nous est très cher dans toute la région, proposé par notre pays voisin et frère Cuba. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Merci beaucoup, Madame l'ambassadeur, très cher Dominique. La parole maintenant est à la Norvège. Norway, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Norway would like to echo what Sweden, Czechia and Switzerland, amongst others, has underlined on the examination of the nominations for the list and the register. Decisions should be based on expert knowledge. We would also like to highlight the importance of the work of the NGOs and encourage their continued and strong involvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Norway. Are there any other requests for the floor? Spain.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Puesto que es la primera vez que la delegación española toma la palabra, quisiéramos darle las gracias por alojar esta reunión, este comité, y quisiéramos dar las gracias también a la Secretaría de la Convención por el buen funcionamiento. Asimismo, quisiéramos agradecer al órgano de evaluación el trabajo que ha realizado con la complejidad que tiene llevar a cabo este trabajo en el formato online y por el gran informe que ha realizado y la precisión del mismo. Sin embargo, al igual que otros compañeros, sobre todo del Grupo 3 y el Grupo 5, desde España quisiéramos insistir en que el proceso de diálogo debe de regularizarse y ordenarse, puesto que es cierto que en algunos casos la aplicación del mismo no es transparente con respecto a los países. Muchas gracias, señor presidente.
Merci beaucoup à l'Espagne. Y a-t-il une autre demande de prise de parole? Je n'en vois pas. Donc, si vous me le permettez, je vais donner la parole à M. Yeo, de l'organe d'évaluation, pour répondre à l'ensemble des questions qui ont été soulevées par les orateurs. Merci.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. First of all, let me, on behalf of the evaluation body, thank everyone for the encouraging words offered to the evaluation body and the work and the evaluation report. There were many questions regarding the dialogue process, so I shall start by answering that question first. The dialogue process is actually intended to be a simple question and answer that is posed to the submitting state. The simple question and answer framework is intended to clarify any statements that are unclear in the file but unclear, or some kind of technical errors which can be resolved by the simple question and answer. It is not intended to be, in the current form, a way to solicit or address more complex issues that cannot be resolved. I think that is the fundamental approach. If a file has sufficient information and the evaluation body deems that the file is sufficient to make a decision, to make an evaluation, in that case, no questions are posed to the dialogue process. So that's an explanation of the dialogue process. And related to that question is, I think there was a question about capacity. Can we increase the number of the capacity and the ability to deal with more dialogue questions? First of all, let me clarify that we use the dialogue when we felt that it would be necessary and can use the simple question framework. it was not a matter of workload. But I would also like to just comment that the overall workload, to be honest, and that's why we mentioned it in the report, it is already quite heavy and substantial. So we did hear suggestions to widen the dialogue process. Of course, that has to be considered and decided in terms of the overall workload on both the evaluation body and I presume the secretariat that is supporting the work as well. So that's a question I believe that was posed on the capacity. On a related issue, still on dialogue, but I think the question I believe was posed by the Czech Republic about the use of external information. And we mentioned that in the report because we believe that additional information is, could possibly enhance the evaluation process. But at the same time, the evaluation body has to evaluate based on the information that is in the file and not based on information from our own experience, from our own knowledge of or visits or information that we have on the internet. So we had a lot of discussions of this point. How can we use such external information? But because it's what then are the defined sources that we can use? What sources are accurate, sources of information that are accurate? What is a fair approach to this? Because the sources of information has to be in English and French in order for the evaluation body to use such information. And how can we have a more kind of consistent and transparent approach? So I'm afraid we don't have a concrete solution and a proposal to address this. There were some ideas that were discussed I can share. For example, there were suggestions on, say, perhaps doing a kind of video interview with communities. But again, I think that's something we have to consider in terms of the timeline given for the evaluation, the amount of files that we can evaluate, and the process. How do we establish such processes? So that's, I believe, a question from the Czech Republic. Move on to answer some of the other questions. There was a question from Ethiopia about regarding trademarks, labels, practice and products, and its links to sustainable development. In the presentation earlier, I did mention that we do recognize the importance of ICH and the sustainable livelihoods of communities. I think these are important considerations, and sustainable livelihoods that can improve the lives of people are an important consideration for sustainable development. But at the same time, there's a lot of discussion about the issue of commercialization. At what point is there over-commercialization? That is something that the evaluation body alone, as well would like further clarity, and we are looking forward to the guidelines that is being prepared by the Secretariat. I believe the ambassador of Germany had a question of ethical principles. How were we included? How was that included in the evaluation? And also the gender-related aspects. I would say the gender issues are already in the current nomination form. There are issues addressed on gender. And the form, the submitting states have to provide sufficient information on the gender-related issues. We did notice there were files that were silent on the roles of the gendered roles. So there were files that were predominantly male. There were also files that were predominantly female, but we will appreciate, for example, if there was further elaboration for the context of why there was gendered roles. Perhaps it could be due to the history or social context. That kind of explanations would be very useful for the evaluation body to determine whether there are issues concerning gender or it's an acceptable part of kind of gendered roles that reflect the culture and the history and the historical practice of the submitting state. I believe I've answered some of the more direct questions.
Thank you for these clarifications, Mr. Yeo. And once again, let me remind you that we will la parole à Tim. Il y a aussi des clarifications qu'il doit apporter. La parole est à toi, Tim. OK.
Sorry, I'm going to take just 1 minute because there were two questions directly addressed to the Secretariat. One concerning the elaboration of the notes for multinational files. Indeed, it's a request of last year. As the request was, as mentioned in the draft decision, we were asked to do this elaborating the outcomes of the reflection on the global listing mechanisms, which were adopted. So we were waiting for the outcomes of that. We are now proceeding to elaborate that guidance note on the elaboration of multinational files. Concerning the question from Bangladesh about establishing a questionnaire and format for community involvement, this probably, in my opinion, has to be involved in some discussion on what is required. Many recommendations of the evaluation body is not to have a standard format. So, you know, if the decision is to have a standard format, of course, we could then easily do that. But I think that takes place within a broader discussion that's going to happen on that issue. So thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Tim. Si vous me le permettez, je vais repasser la parole à M. Yeo parce qu'il a d'autres clarifications à apporter. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I apologize, I missed out the question from the delegation from Sweden that asked about the use of expertise and resources that can be useful to help a nomination in future by the submitting states. There are several ways, I believe there is the Global Facilitators Network, and we have mentioned that in the report as well. We believe that the non-government organizations and also expertise in, say, universities, researchers are also very important. And there are many NGOs today with us as well. Those are valuable resources that can support future nominations. On our part, we have tried to be detailed as possible in our report and the presentation. We hope that those issues that are highlighted in the report will also be useful references for countries when they are preparing future nominations to take note of in future. So that's my response to the delegation from Sweden. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yeo. And once again, I wanted to say that I would like to remind you that we will examine draft decision 17.com7 after having examined individual decisions under items 7A, 7B, 7C, and 7D. So I think that without further ado, I suspend the decision 17.com.7 and let us proceed now to item 7A. Thank you.